Hans family?
I want to play a game. You don't know me, but I know you. Live or die. Make your choice.
What's up, Hans family, and welcome to the second video of Hanzoween 2017. I don't know why I had to use that voice, but it felt appropriate. This is Billy the doll from Jigsaw, and I'm so excited to tell you guys that this video is sponsored by Mayron, which is so awesome because I absolutely love their products and have for years. So thank you so much to Mayron. There's also a link in the description box to an Amazon storefront that has every product I use in this video, so if you want to recreate this look for Halloween, you can get everything in one place. Alright, enough chit chat, let's get Hanzoween Day 2 started, shall we? Okay, so we're going to be starting with a face cast again. We used a face cast yesterday, and the same with yesterday, you can totally just use your face. If you don't have one, it's all good. Put a few layers of latex over the entire face, kind of leaving your lips and eye areas open, a little bit for your nose holes, because breathing is nice to do occasionally. And then we're going to start building up the entire face using cotton. I'm just going straight in with big cotton balls to start building up the cheeks because they're big and round, and using my finger dipped in latex just to smooth it all out. The first layers do not have to be too smooth because we are going to continue adding more and more and more. I used about 5 cotton balls to get the height that I wanted. Do it on the other cheek and try to be as symmetrical as possible, and then just go straight for the mouth. We want to hide the little crevice that we have under our bottom lip, so I'm adding a lot of cotton in there and smoothing it out with more latex, and then slowly building up the chin so I have that long puppet chin that he has going on. It's always easier to work in big mounds together because you do not need to let it dry, because while it's still tacky and wet, you can mold it to the shape you want. I also forgot the first rule of doing this. You need a reference photo, so look at your reference picture to try to get it as exact as possible, but still remember that it is your face, it is your features, so it's always better to have a makeup look fit your features than trying to just make it look exactly like the picture. It'll look a little more cohesive. I'm building up the nose, especially the bottom. He has this longer nose. Same with the nostrils, and always continuing to smooth out the edges as much as I can so they all blend into the next feature. It was really late at night when I was doing this, so I did go to sleep, and overnight it did dry. This is the color that it looks like afterwards. And I wanted to finish up by doing the eyebrows the same exact way we did before, building them up, still looking at a reference photo to try to get them pretty close as possible. And letting it dry overnight is a good time to actually go back and fill in any little holes, any chunky pieces you have, so it's as smooth as possible. Luckily, the look we are going for is kind of crackly and creepy mask, so if you have a little few bumps and ends, you're all good. Let that dry again overnight, or I would at least say 5 to 6 hours, and you'll be good to go. And I am going to just toss on a bald cap real quick. This one is from Mayron and very easy to apply. I just used a little bit of spirit gum to adhere it to my head. And this is what my prosthetic looked like fully off my face cast. There's still a little work needed. Put it up against your face, see where you need to cut little holes here and there, and then you shall be ready to apply. Okay guys, this is the Mayron Special Effects Pro Makeup Kit. It has everything you would need special effects wise. It has gel, it has blood, it has tooth enamels, it has spirit gum, it has waxes, creams, powders, crepe hair. I could just go on and on. So if you're looking to do any special effects, this got you covered. With that said, I'm taking a little bit of the COLORSET powder and just powdering my prosthetic really well. I don't want the latex to stick on itself at all, so it's always a good step. Picking up the spirit gum, I am going to use this to glue the prosthetic to my face, and I want to work in sections. I'm just starting in my forehead so that I can get that push down. I tap the spirit gum out a little bit and stick it in sections. This is also fine to put in your hair as long as you have a spirit gum remover. which also does come in the kit if you do decide to get that. Be careful though if you are doing it in very sensitive areas like your eye, because I did get a couple of my lower lashes stuck and it wasn't my favorite. This is the cream palette, it has all these different colors. I'm going to just go in with white with a flat brush and just cover my entire face with this. Not my entire head quite yet, just my face. And I'm really pushing it in to get in every little nook and cranny in the prosthetic. And this is why I didn't go around the entire head, because I want the edges to blend really well into the bald cap and also give it a textured look. So with latex, I'm just laying that all over the edges and bringing that onto the bald cap a bit with a kind of textured feel. Because this Billy doll is rough. He's seen some shit, okay? Once that's all dry, cover that all back up with more white paint, even bring it down onto your neck. I'm also using this Mehron brush. It'll kind of help me get into the hard to reach places that huge brush I was using before can't fit. This will make it a nice opaque full base. And then you just want to powder that generously. Mixing between the white and gray in this cream palette, I start to darken out where the features are, especially around the circular cheeks. And I say mixing the two because if you go in with just the gray, it's going to be a little too dark. So kind of mixing them or putting the gray down first and then blending it out with the white will really help to give a softer gradient than just the dark gray. This is again a great time to look at your reference picture to see exactly where the shadows of the doll are. Luckily though, your mold does do most of the work for you, because if you just think of how this face would look if the light was hitting it, obviously the light would hit more of the high points and the shadows would kind of come around the circular areas, especially in these little lines between the mouth area where our little mask puppet mouth would move. Pretty much the deeper into the face it goes, just like contouring, the darker the color would be. And we're gonna layer this anyways, so, you know, first layer's good. Texture up the bald cap just a little bit so it matches. And now here's the second layer I was just talking about. Deepen up the shadows that you just put down, and you want to also black out your eyes. Make sure to get right under your prosthetic too if it's not all the way glued down, so that if your eyes move, that little peak of your real flesh doesn't pop out. Time for some eyeshadows. This is the Mehron Pressed Pigment Palette in Earth. I'm just going to be using black to set the cream paint on our eyelids because since our eyelids move, it does need to be set. Paradise paints are my fave. You guys know this. I love them so much. They're water activated paint, just a little water, and they're nice and creamy. I'm using this very lightly with a small brush to make kind of some crackling texture. I'm adding just a little bit of water too, because if you add just a tiny bit of water, you'll get more of a wash, which is what we are wanting to go for, these little crackling textures. Just kind of barely there. You can just start with some little squiggly lines and connect a few of them so that it just looks like your doll is broken apart. And if it's a little too dark, you can either tap out the product or put more of the white cream paint on top. After that step, I was looking at it and I realized that I definitely needed it to be a little darker. So I went through and contoured out my nose, or as much as you can contour out a creepy doll nose. Now grabbing this Mehron Fantasy FX paint in red, it's time to draw the dreaded swirls. I only say dreaded because, you know, they're pretty symmetrical, so we have to get them as symmetrical as we can, which is challenging for any artist. Or maybe that's just what I tell myself to feel better about my non-symmetrical work. You can see I'm starting out at the very tip just so that I can see kind of where I want the swirl to go and going in slow strokes. Trying to make a perfect circle around. A good trick that I was doing is using the white space as a map. The white space needs to be the same between every little layer of red. So just take your time, go slow, and get the shape down first, then you can go in and kind of darken it as you need. Squirting some more of this bad boy out, and we're going to use it for the lips too. Billy's lips aren't very symmetrical, and they actually look quite messy. He looks like a very messily painted doll, so I'm going in with that shape, pretty much is the same that he has. And then darkening around the mouth just a little bit to show the line of the lips a little more, and adding a little painterly kind of highlight on the bottom. Still using that white cream paint that we just highlighted the lip with, I carve out a little bit of the eyes, add a couple little white highlights, and clean up some of my work. And now time for crepe hair. Using spirit gum again for this, I put that all over my head, tap it out a little bit, and just start adding tons of crepe hair. His hair is usually straight, but I kind of like the look of some curly. So I was wearing contacts for this look, but I really did want the element of my eyes being closed and it to look like his normal eyes too, so I did decide to paint on 2 of the red circles on the eyes and highlight them so that they looked a little bit more bright, and it gives kind of a cool effect where you have your eyes closed and you look like him, and then your eyes are open and bam, cool contacts. Just throwing on my bow tie real quick. Now we want to make him all shiny, so I'm just grabbing some good ol' lube, because he is a doll and dolls usually are kind of covered in a sort of varnish, I would say. Adding that all over with a sponge, and now you're done. You can go be a creepy doll and sit in front of your staticky TV at 5 a.m. to try to get cool shots, like I did. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you liked this. Let me know what you think down below, and give me a little thumbs up if you're excited for Hanzoween. Thank you again so much to Mayron for sponsoring this video. I so appreciate it. And don't forget, you guys, if you want to vote for me for the American Influencer Awards, I'm up for a nomination. All info will be down below. And I love the fuck out of you guys so much, and I will see you the day after tomorrow. Bye!